Is this just a smokescreen, or did the Kevin Durant trade just get that much worse for the Phoenix Suns? Clocking in on the weekend again. It's a trending mini edition of PHNX Suns here with Erik Ruby. Drop a comment, leave a like, 5-star reviews. If, of course, you're listening on audio, and, of course, subscribe to PHNX Sports for around-the-clock KD coverage. Let's not bury the lead here. We all know that there are a lot of teams that have been linked with interest to Kevin Durant at varying levels. San Antonio, Houston, Miami, Minnesota, even Toronto as a wildcard team thrown out there. And we know that there's been a position the Suns desperately want back in a KD trade, and that is a starting caliber center. And two of those might just be off the table, according to Jake Fischer, in conjunction with Mark Stein from DLLS, reporting that for Toronto, Jakob Poetl is off the table, and for Miami, it's Kel'el Ware. Let's unpack Poetl here in a second. Let's focus on Kel'el Ware, because we know that that is a main hinging point with the Suns doing a deal with the Miami Heat. Now, for me, if Kel'el Ware is off the table, it would take mountains of first-round picks for me to agree to send Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, and maybe Jaime Jaquez, or throw Terry Rozier in there to make the money work instead of Duncan Robinson or Andrew Wiggins. Listen, I know that a lot of people don't think Kevin Durant's going to go for a lot. They think he's going to go for scraps. I am on a little bit of a different side for that. I think it is Kevin Durant, and the Suns will eventually walk away with a decent package. I'm not talking the ultimate package that the Suns gave up for him, but I do think you're going to get some value back. But from Miami, if you're not getting Kel'el Ware, to me, I'm walking away. And not that I don't understand Miami being hesitant to put Kel'el Ware in there. Obviously, their first-round pick from last year, who came on fire at the end of the season, definitely got some more playing time, is 7'1", good wingspan, has all the tools, can hit shots, right? In theory, can defend. Of course, some of that was helped by playing next to Bam Adebayo, and there are some other things with Kel'el Ware. Some people question his motor, which I don't have as much of a concern about, but I do understand that maybe that's a worry for some people. For Miami, the unwillingness to part with Ware, to me, feels just like a negotiating tactic right now, the same thing that the Suns are doing as well, and throwing things out there and saying, oh, we like this deal. Oh, we'll trade him to Minnesota. Oh, we'll trade him to Toronto if you're San Antonio and you're not offering us a great package. But for Miami, the future picks are something. I think you can get some of their first round picks in the 2030s, maybe the late 2020s. It's not the way that this franchise has been operating, and maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe at the end of the day, the Suns' best package ends up being a bunch of future first-round picks, and they slow play this, or they turn those future first-round picks from Miami into something else. But Miami notoriously doesn't tank. Hell, look at what they're doing right now. They're trying to buy low and get in on Kevin Durant to bring him to an Eastern Conference where they think they can contend despite being one of the most embarrassing first-round teams of all time against the Cleveland Cavaliers this past season. That just shows that this is the type of franchise that they are, which means their first-round picks will likely end up at the lowest in the low teens, right? We're looking at probably 15 to 20-ish range for Miami. Usually they're picking 20th in this year's draft after that embarrassing first-round exit. That's not exactly the most valuable asset in the league. Tell me the last time Miami had a top 5 pick. Right? Like, it's been a long time. It's kind of the same thing as the Indiana Pacers. They just don't tank. They just don't completely bottom out like some of these other teams. OKC, Washington, New Orleans, Charlotte, Brooklyn, right? Like, these are teams that have hit those low lows, and if you get their future picks, you might be able to talk yourself into it. If you're Miami, right, I don't see that as a worthwhile package for Kevin Durant, and hopefully you can get a better package from somebody else. Of course, the Suns at the end of the day will just do what's best for them, and what's best for them is the best possible package for Kevin Durant. Of course, a lot of what comes into this as well is the report from Brian Windhorst that Kevin Durant is essentially depressing his market and saying, I will only go to one or maybe a few teams, if you interpret what Windhorst said a little more liberally. To me, if Kevin Durant points to Miami and says, I want to go to Miami, I think the Heat are going to look at that and say, you're going to take what we offer you and you're going to like it. If I'm the Suns, I'm going to say, Kevin Durant wants to go to you. You're really going to not give me a piece that might not work out, a young piece for a current top 15 player of all time, a player that can help you contend right now with a core that is not built for a young track in Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo in a wide open Eastern Conference without Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics there to run it. I just don't know if Miami will not blink on this. it's not that I don't understand if they don't blink, but I just really wonder if at the end of the day, Pat Riley jumps the gun, says, I want Kevin Durant. There's been this love affair with Miami and Kevin Durant for a long time now. He wanted to go to Miami even before he came to Phoenix. It just feels like one of those things that if it does happen, Miami's going to have to give up some value. I know Andrew Wiggins is a starting level player. He's not a great player. You've seen some people call him soft and that he's not good at all. I disagree with that he's not good at all. He's a decent two-way wing. He can give you about 18 points per game. He positionally fits with Book. He's about 30 years old, right? There are worse individual assets to get back. Is he the number one pick? Is he the guy that he was on Golden State when he was the second best player on a championship team? No, he's not that anymore. And, there is some questions about his motor as well. As he's soft, whatever it is, right? Like, I don't hate Andrew Wiggins in a starting lineup with Devin Booker. I don't hate Andrew Wiggins as a piece. He's not somebody I'm looking to sign to a contract extension, especially to one if he's trying to find big value, but he's something, right? Other than that, Duncan Robinson is a nothing that you can just cut for half of his salary. You get him for salary relief. Terry Rozier might be one of the worst one-year contracts in the league. He's just expiring salary, also currently being investigated by the FBI. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had a great rookie year, not a great second year. He's on the older side as well, so when that second year doesn't hit the same, it does make you start to worry a little bit about his long-term future in the league. And you look at anything else that Miami can offer you. Keshad Johnson, Pele Larson, right? Like those don't move me, and that's not just the ASU in me speaking. Like that's just the NBA stuff. Like I like Keshad Johnson as a prospect, but he's a G League player right now. He's not a rotation player for the Suns, and the Suns do have a lot of people on their roster that kind of fit that same position, whether it's Ryan Dunn or if it's Cody Martin, or if you go to the G League and it's Jalen Bridges, right? Like that position is kind of filled. So I don't love this Keshad Johnson package, right? Like you got to throw in Kel'el Ware. You have to throw in Kel'el Ware. But what about Toronto, right? Toronto with Jakob Poetl. I know that the name is kind of weird sometimes. Poetl. I've heard it both ways. I'm going to go with Poetl. Toronto being unwilling to offer that goes to show that maybe they are a little bit more serious about wanting to contend when they have KD, because if you give up your starting caliber center for KD, you got a pretty big hole to fill. The package would be based around Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and the number 9 pick. I don't love it, but I do love the number 9 pick better than the 20th pick in Andrew Wiggins, right? Even without Poeltl, I would like the Toronto package in theory. Emmanuel Quickley does make about $30 million a year, but it's a flat contract. It doesn't go up, so as the cap goes up, it basically gets cheaper. RJ Barrett I don't love, but he can create his own shot. Maybe you can trade him for some value at the deadline if he has a good season alongside Devin Booker. Defensively, Quickley, Booker, Barrett as a 1-2-3. With Nick Richards, man in the middle, I'm not about that, right? And what does Ryan Dunn do there? Because RJ Barrett slots in at the 3, and I want Ryan Dunn to start for this team, and you're not going to put Ryan Dunn to the 4, at least not consistently. I don't think he has the body type for that right now. And you're not going to bring RJ Barrett off the bench, I don't think. Maybe you do, but you also have Bradley Beal as well. Is your bench going to be Bradley Beal and RJ Barrett? I mean, the NBA from 5 years ago is shaking. But the NBA currently could care less about that. There are decent pieces. Then you look at number 9, and maybe number 9 is where you get your center, right? Maybe Malawak falls to 9, but, all signs kind of point that he's going to go in the top 5, right? And then another center doesn't really feel like it's on the table until you get later in the first round or even earlier in the second round. It's a lot of wings, it's a lot of forwards, and it's a lot of guards. And that's okay, but if you have Quickley, Barrett, Booker, Beal, are you going to draft a guard? Are you going to draft a wing if you also have Ryan Dunn as well? I don't think you go away from it, but again, if Nick Richards is your starting center next year, you've got a certain ceiling on your team. So if I'm with Toronto and I'm trying to make a deal with them, I need Poeltl back. I just do. I need Poeltl in the 9 pick. Everything else we can discuss, right? You can give me Quickley, you can give me Barrett, you can give me one of the 2, right? If I got Poeltl and I've got 9, I feel a little bit better. I'd rather have Quickley than Barrett for positional fit next to Devin Booker. If you're Miami, I need Kel'el Ware, but apparently, according to Jake Fischer, neither of those teams want to give up those pieces. One last piece here. I recorded a short, so you probably already saw it, or maybe you didn't if you didn't know that we already do shorts here. So, of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates on Kevin Durant, the Kevin Durant trade, and everything with the Phoenix Suns in the future. is that teams are also interested in Cody Martin from the Suns, who is a veteran forward who I actually really liked what you saw from him on the defensive side of things. Offensively, of course, he leaves a little to be desired, but he certainly is a decent piece in this league. I think he's a rotation player on a good team, a good defensive wing to throw in off the bench. Miami was a name that Jake Fischer threw in that would be interested in Martin. Of course, it gets a little tricky there on how are you going to navigate that? How are you going to get below the second apron and put these contracts together in a trade? So I'm not sure exactly how that works out, but it is something definitely to monitor, especially if Miami is maybe looking to get a little more value in return than an aging superstar like Kevin Durant, and an athletic wing might make them a little bit more willing to part with their main bargaining piece, which is a Kel'el Ware or maybe more future first-round picks. The Suns can then flip and get off Bradley Beal or get a current star or hold on to them and draft. What do you think? Do you think Kel'el Ware should be off the table, or do you think that Miami should part with him? And what do you think about Kevin Durant still not getting traded? It's here on a Saturday, and we're building up to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Drop a comment, leave a like, follow us at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. If you're listening on audio, you're beautiful, and thank you for those 5-star reviews. We will talk to you all very, very soon.
We all silly like the mayor.